Hello there, adventurer, and welcome to the Guildhall. Each week we talk about all things Dungeons & Dragons and anime related, but not always concurrently. This week we're going to be focused simply on anime, as we take a look at one of the most anticipated movies of the 2022 spring season, Bubble. Every few years, an animated film comes along that has the potential to create something genuinely unique and groundbreaking. As fans of anime, we've been spoiled over the last few years with truly wonderful, memorable films, such as Your Name, Wolf Children, Liz and the Bluebird, The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, and A Silent Voice, just to name a few. Bubble could very well soon be joining this list of anime movies that rise above the rest. The reason being that its production has been packed with talent, and from what we've already seen in the trailers, it has paid off. Let's take a closer look at all the things to know about Bubble. First, the film is set in a Tokyo that has somehow been disconnected from the outside world, presumably by the bubbles that somehow break the laws of gravity. The streets and buildings of the city have become a battlefield for a group of orphan teenagers who compete in gravity-defying parkour battles. The story follows Hibiki, one such parkour ace with a reckless, edgy style, and Yuta, a young girl with strange and mysterious powers. As the story progresses, it seems that their connection may well change the world. The movie is being created by WIT Studio in Japan for Netflix. WIT Studio has a close relationship with Netflix, who teamed up with the studio to support the craftsmanship of animation by launching a 6-month animation training program back in 2021 for young animators. WIT has been responsible for some super high-profile anime in recent years, most notably shows like Attack on Titan, The Great Pretender, Ranking of Kings, and the upcoming Spy X Family, which I'm predicting will be a pretty big hit for the studio. As a bit of a D&D tie-in, WIT Studio and Maxilla are creating a cinematic animation for the Wizards of the Coast Kamigawa Neon Dynasty expansion. The film is an original story from Japanese novelist Gen Urobuchi, writer of Madoka Magica, for which he won the Tokyo Anime Award for Best Screenplay, as well as Psycho Pass and the mega hit Fate Zero. Urobuchi mentioned in an interview about Madoka Magica in 2012 that the work of American author Stephen King was an important influence on his own writing. When looking at the trailer, it is clear that despite its luscious animation and bubbly style, that there are some dark undertones that will likely reveal themselves. In the same interview, he also indirectly expressed a desire for audiences to involve themselves deeply in the story and actively work to understand the characters. Considering the high concept nature of this story about familyless teens and a mysterious girl, it's likely that even 10 years after this interview, we'll see elements of this desire in Bubble. Helming this movie is Tetsuro Araki, who, like many employees of WIT, came over from the studio production IG. Araki is probably best known for directing Death Note in 2006, as well as directing several episodes of Attack on Titan, including its pilot. In addition to Death Note and Attack on Titan, he has been a director or storyboard artist on some of anime's most visually interesting shows, like Sword Art Online, Black Lagoon, High School of the Dead, and Kaiji Ultimate Survivor. These are all projects that might most immediately be remembered for their strong cinematography, but are also stories that have a lot of darker story elements throughout. This trend of subtle darkness is further reinforced with the selection of Takashi Obata as the character designer for Bubble. Obata is perhaps best known for being the illustrator of Death Note and Bakuman in partnership with Sugumi Oba, as well as the recent Platinum End manga and anime. He also was the artist on All You Need Is Kill. American viewers might not know this title, but will likely know the Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise sci-fi movie Edge of Tomorrow, which was based off of All You Need Is Kill. He is one of manga and anime's most prolific and highly regarded designers. The trailer showcases a bunch of beautifully designed characters, and I'm excited to see not just Yuta and Hibiki, but also the various members of the different parkour teams. If you look closely, a lot can be gleaned from the character designs. The majority of the characters are wearing slightly futuristic looking athletic wear, but much of it is tattered, threadbare, and mixed and matched. We also get a look at a very creepy parkour team that are sporting some futuristic masks and have a very Bird of Prey-like vibe to them. Especially with high concept sci-fi, character design choices can go a long way to quickly acclimating an audience to the new world that they have entered. Lastly, the music is by Hiroyuki Sawano. Sawano has written musical scores for some of the biggest anime in recent years, including, of course, Attack on Titan, as well as Kill la Kill, Blue Exorcist, and Seven Deadly Sins. From the trailer, we get a mix of ethereal, echoing, liquid-like sound effects that are quickly coupled with the driving percussion and then accompanied by orchestra to really give it an epic cinematic effect. It's encouraging to see so much overlap between these professional collaborators, many of them having worked together previously on Attack on Titan. Mostly because we know this recipe of jaw-dropping visuals and hard-driving music should likely work to spectacular effect. All in all, Bubble has a lot of ingredients to indicate potential greatness. Granted, Netflix as a content producer has been a major disservice to anime when talking about live-action adaptations. They should never be forgiven for what they did to Death Note or Cowboy Bebop. But the actual anime they produce does tend to fare a bit better, and a common theme in that success seems to be WIT Studio's involvement. With Bubble, my guess is the story will follow something of a Gurren Lagann storyline. A group of young, relatively aimless characters are making their way through a dystopian world and believe their largest adversaries are some lesser villains we meet early in the first act. We also meet a young, strange girl who is secretly the Bubbles manifested. I'm basing this on the line in the trailer where Yuta says because she met Hibiki, she was able to become herself. Also, there are several shots where she appears to be made of bubbles. Somewhere in the second act, the barrier of the bubbles separating Tokyo from the rest of the world begins to collapse, and it seems like unless someone does something, they'll all die. Hibiki and Yuta are the obvious choices. Yuta ultimately has to pop like all bubbles do, and we discover a new and better world on the other side. Now listen, I'm not being critical here. I'm not saying this is a cliche. I am 100% just taking a guess at what I imagine this story will be. Whatever it is, there is sure to be amazing direction, stunning animation and character design, a solid story, and some beautiful music. Personally, I think this is going to be a joy to watch. But let me know what you think. Is it going to be a crit hit or miss? Leave a comment below with your take. As always, thank you for stopping by the Guildhall on your many adventures, and I hope you make it back this way again soon. Please leave a like and subscribe before you go. And as always, safe journeys, adventurer.